Yes, it's recording now.
Okay, very good. Very good. Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We know that some of you were here earlier and you heard us chatting among ourselves. Uh, but we're really pleased to have you here today for the June meeting. If you would, in the chat, would you just kind of identify where you're from and whether you're watching the soccer game or not? Oh, I said soccer. I'm not watching the soccer football game or not. That's a little inside joke going on here. So just identify where you're from and welcome. Uh, Klaus, let's go to the next slide. You're going to find that first of all, the meeting is being recorded. Now, all you people who are already here, you can when somebody comes in later and asks if the meeting's been recorded, you can just go and chat and say, yeah, that's one of the first things they said. The meeting is going to be recorded, and the recording will be available probably early next week. It will be up on our website. You'll notice that your audio and visual have been disconnected. There's just going to be too many of you out there to be having that going live back and forth across what we're doing here today. But you can chat, and we encourage you to chat with one another and talk to each other and have a good time while you're out here. But if you have a question for a speaker, please put it in the Q&A. Now, we monitor that and we try to answer your questions as we go along. Very often when the chat gets going and things are happening rather quickly, it's hard to keep up with the chat. But if you put your questions in the Q&A, we'll see that we get an answer to you. Klaus, let's go to the next slide. Okay, just a little bit about the group. This is your group. This is the Tableau newbie user group. We kind of gear our presentations for somebody who's been using Tableau for maybe about a year and you want to enhance your skill level or your capabilities. This meeting is for you. We meet maybe 7 times a year. That's every 6 to 8 weeks. And we have 2 parts to each meeting. There's a part that Klaus and I go in and we do a deep dive into how does that work. And today we're going to be talking about table calculations. And we also have a featured speaker. And today's featured speaker is going to talk about Viz extensions. And if you were at TC, this is really a hot topic. But most of all, we want you to have a lot of fun while you're here today and enjoy yourself. If you have any comments to us, put them in the chat because we'd like to hear what you have to say. Klaus? Well, here's the group. I'll just start off. My name's Jim Daner. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been using Tableau for about 8 years now. And I think we're going to go next to Viraj. Viraj?
Hey, hi everyone, this is Viraj. I'm from Mumbai, India, and I'm a Tableau ambassador. And as I always say, I'm a newbie at heart, so always learning new things and happy to be part of this group. And I welcome you all to this event.
Reyes?
Hey everyone, I'm Reyes Murrieta. I'm based out of Fort Collins, Colorado, but I've been traveling around for the past year, so I'm currently in Oregon. That said, I've been using Tableau for about 3 years, and just like Viraj, I still feel like a newbie at heart and continue to learn at every one of these events. So looking forward to today's session.
Okay, Klaus?
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Klaus. I'm based in Münster in Germany, in sunny Germany, so summer has just arrived. I've been using Tableau since 2017. I started with version 10.2, I think. And today we're going to talk about table calculation, one of my favorite topics. So looking forward to that already. And in the community, I founded or set up this group, this newbie tag, together with Jim. And also like Jim, I'm a Tableau visionary.
Okay. Maddie is not with us today. Maddie's having a little surgery today, and she's doing well. So Maddie won't be with us today. And Laura has not joined us yet. Laura is out of Chicago, and we expect her. We expect her on the call at any time now. Klaus, let's move along to the next slide. Okay, well, today's agenda, we're right in this first part where we're introducing ourselves and meeting you all. Then we're going to go into a session where primarily Klaus is going to be talking about table calculations, and we know that's a hot button with most new users to Tableau. That's going to be followed by our guest speaker, who's going to speak about extensions and the power of using extensions and how to use it. And then hopefully we're going to have a Kahoots quiz. Laura usually puts a Kahoots quiz together. She might be working on that right now, even as we speak. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, we just wanted to start thinking ahead a little bit. Today is the 25th of June, and we're going to be talking about calculations and specifically table calculations. The next meeting, and you can jot this on your calendar, we're going to have you'll be able to sign up for it right here in a minute, is going to be August the 14th. And we're going to talk about everybody's favorite, maps. Everybody loves doing maps. And as a surprise here, instead of having the Klaus and Jim, how does that work session, we're going to have the Reyes and Maddie, how does that work session. And they're going to be talking about maps. And I think if we go to the next slide, we'll see who our guest speaker is going to be. There he is. Our guest speaker is going to be Tore Levinson, and he is in Norway, as you might have guessed here. He's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he is really, really good on maps. And he's calling this topic "Navigating Through Data Without Maps." That's Norway to live. And Tore's a lot of fun, so I know you're going to want to be at this meeting. You can use the QR code there to sign up, and we'd love to have you sign up for the meeting now. So let's go to the next one.
Yeah, maybe I go one slide back and just talking about. So if you see this list of topics, this might seem a little bit random to you, but actually it's not. Of course, it's not, because we've put this year or this year's session under the heading of transitioning from Excel to Tableau, and that it is a journey. And our goal for this year was or has been to look into different topics that we consider to be really fundamental and to be like building blocks that you should learn a little bit about, to really accelerate your learning and to make your next steps. So we talked about understanding data structure. We looked into modifying data with joins and unions and pivots. We looked into basic visualizations. Remember that session with Ken and Kevin Flerlech. We had Andy Kriebel with us. So there was already a lot going on this year. And today we want to talk about calculations and in specific about table calculations, because like Jim, for example, knows from the forums, and I also see these questions quite frequently. This is a hot topic. And especially when you're at the beginning of your journey, there are often question marks around this topic. So we want to shed some light on the basics of table calculation. Okay, Jim, do you want to kick it off?
Let's just talk real briefly about table calculations. We assume you know what we're talking about. Well, table calculations are actually a class of calculation in itself, and they happen to be done last in the order of operation. They're done after all the filters have been applied and all the other types of calculations have been done. They're the type of calculations that you would do if you're trying to do running totals or percent differences or the percent of total. You're probably very familiar with, if you're an Excel user, using that type of calculation in Excel by copying a formula down a row or across a column, for example. And the type of calculations that Klaus are going to introduce all start with some keywords, words like running calculation, or like running sum, or window sum, or window average, or totaling, or lookup, or rank, or those sorts of things that have to be done by looking across records within the data set. Now, there's some detail that Klaus is going to get into about the settings and how you determine how much of the calculation is how much of the table is being used in the calculation at any one time. Klaus, the next slide. Okay, if you've come from Excel like I came from Excel, if you come from Excel, you're very familiar with working with calculations and copying that calculation and going across the columns or down the rows. And the same idea takes place with table calculations. We talk about two different things. We talk about scope, and that's how much of the table is being used in the calculation, and then direction. We're either going across or we're going down. The next slide, Klaus. And there's also 5 special types of calculations that are used to navigate the table. And those are very similar to like an offset function that would use in Excel, where you could look at the first row or the last row or column. Index refers to the column number or the row number going down. Lookup just specifies go to this cell and then come back and bring the value back. The previous value looks to the immediately preceding value, either in the row or the column. Now, Klaus is going to show you how this is actually done and how it's done using real examples. Klaus, take it over.
Yeah. So before I switch to Tableau, I want to introduce one basic concept here about table calculation, and by doing this also introduce some other basic concepts. So if we look into table calculations, they are a class of calculation on its own. And we have to differentiate table calculations from record level calculations. You see them here on the left side. So whenever you take a field from your data and just use that field in a calculation without any aggregation, then you create a calculation on record or on row level. So in this case, I'm defining revenue as quantity times price. And what I can do is to use this field revenue in my view. And when I use this measure, in this case, in my view, it gets aggregated by default. In my example, it's a sum. Yeah, so this way, for January, we have 4 different customers. We have price, quantity, revenue. And when you sum up the 20, 400, 304, we get to 724 in January. Yeah, and the same for February, March, April, May. So you will know this. Then a table calculation is put on top of an aggregation. Yeah, you can only use table calculations with aggregations. So there has to be a sum or a min or an average or a median. Any type of aggregation would work, but you need them both. You need the table calculation function, like running sum in my example here, and you need the aggregation, the sum of revenue in this case. And what does this do? So analytical question would be to get the running sum of sales or revenue in this case over the different months. And we're using the function running sum, and you see February takes the January and adds the February, then we take that result, add March, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so record level, aggregation, table calculation. That's the so, in a way, order of operation for table calculations in itself. Okay, good. Let me share my entire screen. Wait a second. And let's jump to Tableau. So for today, I really want to cover the basics of table calculation. And to do this, I've created quite a simple data set. And my data set I want to work with looks like this. So I have an ID from 1 to 100, and I have a column count where I count from 1 to 10 and then start over again. I borrowed this idea from a talk at TC 2017, so it's been some time already. And the topic was visualizing table calculations. I found that quite interesting. And this is what I did here. So we have the ID here on rows, and then I brought in the sum of count twice. Now you see I took that record level field, in this case not a calculation, but a field, dragged it to the view. Let's do that again. And it gets aggregated because it's a measure. Yeah, and you see they are showing up the same. They show the same, of course. Here we have the ID, and the sum of count is 1 to 10, 1 to 10 all the time. So now let's look into quick table calculations. You can access quick table calculations by clicking the green pill with the white triangle, and then go all the way down to the quick table calculation. And this is a pre-curated list of analytical questions, again, running total, difference, percent difference, that will set up the table calculation for you. Yeah, that's hence the name quick table calculation. And what I will do now is I will walk through the different analytical questions, and let's start with the running total. You see what it does? It sums up, it builds the running sum of my sum of counts. So I'm starting with 1, then 2, and 1 and 2 is 3. Then 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10, and so on and so forth. And I'm ending at 550. Now, this is the running total. Then we have difference. Different creates quite a nice pattern here with my example data. So the difference from 2 to 1 is 1. The difference from 3 to 2 is also 1. It's always 1, except the difference from 10 to 1, it's -9, or from 1 to 10 is -9. Yeah, so this way we get this interesting shape. Yeah, that's difference. Then we have percent difference. Yeah, from 1 to 2, we have 100% difference. So we're doubling the value. Then from 3 to 2, we have 50% difference, and it gets smaller and smaller the further we come. And then we get a negative difference from 10 to 1 of -90. Yeah, that's percent difference. Then we have percent of total. I mentioned the total was 550, and 1 is 0.182% of the 550, and 10 would be 1.8%. And you see that repeats over and over again. It's just it's the same visualization basically with a different value. Then we get the rank. So with the rank, we can show by default we are ranking the IDs. So the highest value gets the highest rank. So 10 gets rank 1, 9 gets rank 11 because we have 10 times 1, and so on and so forth. And for 1, we get rank 91. Then we get to the percentiles. 100% are in the top percentile, covering all the values, and the others accordingly less. And we have the moving average, which is quite interesting. So moving average creates a moving calculation, and by default, it's covering the previous 2 values and the current value. Yeah. So for this value, for example, we have 1 plus 2 divided by 2 is 1.5. We have here 6 divided by 3 is 2. And here we get 2, 3, and 4 is 9 divided by 3 is 3, and so on and so forth. There are detail settings for the moving average as well as for other functions like rank, for example. Maybe let's look into the moving calculation. So you can, let me do that again. You can click into the green pill and use the table calculation settings here. We can edit them. And for example, increase the number of values we want to include in our moving average. This would be 4, 5, and you see this is changing the shape of our visualization. Yeah, we can also switch this to sum to create a running moving sum, and just set it to the calculation that you need. Especially necessary when you want to look into outliers, or when you want to narrow down outliers and just have a smoother trend than the actual values can show. Yeah, these are the quick table calculations, and one of my favorite tricks. So I'm using quick table calculations quite a lot, and let's assume we need the moving average just the way I've set it up. One nice trick is to take this calculation here from columns and drop it to the data pane, and this will kind of materialize the calculation that has been built in the pill. So this is my moving average. And what we then can do is to look into this moving average. And remember, so we set the calculation to average. That's why it's a window average. And we set the number of periods, of previous periods, to 5. So that's why we see a -5 here. And the amount of periods of next periods, we left that to 0. That's why you see a 0 here. Yeah. So this way, you can always save your quick table calculations for later and bring them here to the data pane. So these are quick table calcs. Then we have compute using. So Jim talked about scope and direction, yeah, this is what we said with compute using. So let's create a very simple view. Let me drag. So I have here a segment and region, and I brought the month of order date here on columns. And let's change that color. I don't like this blue. Let's make it a little bit different, like that. And maybe show the values for now. And go back to square. Yeah. So this is a view where we break down sales to the month, and here to segments, and break it further down to regions. Yeah. So we can see the sales of each month in each region of each segment. Yeah, so that's our data set we want to work with, and I now take off the label to just follow the coloring of my cells, and this way we will be able to see how the table calculations work. So let's start again with a running total, and by default, when you set a running total, the compute using is set to table across. You can see that from the shading of my cells, or when I switch off the label, you can see that the sales are summed up from the left to the right, and on the right side we get the cumulative sales for each region in each segment. This is table across. Then we can choose the table down option, and you see the shading is now going from top to bottom. So we are summing up each month across all regions and segments, and the highest value is at the bottom of the table. Yeah, so we get the cumulative amount for each month. Next is table across and then down, and you see what's going on. So we start here, and then we go further to the right, and don't stop here, but start over again at the beginning and go in zigzag from the top to the bottom of the table, and the highest value is at the bottom right of my table. So here we have the 2.3 million we know from Superstore. Yeah, this is across and then down, and we also have down and then across. So this time the shading is different. So we start at the top, go all the way down, and then start over at the top again. So this is like in N format. I don't know if that exists, but that makes maybe sense. Yeah. So when we look at the values again, we still have the highest value at the bottom right, but yeah, we go this way through the table. Now this is table across till table down, then across. Then there is an option called pane down and pane across and then down. And the pane is what segment does here. So segment breaks the table down into 3 different sections, and this is what Tableau calls the pane. And we can define the table calculation to work on pane level. And here we can set it to pane down. And you see when we switch off on the values, for each segment, we go from, for each month, we go from top to bottom, top to bottom. And here we start over again, top to bottom, top to bottom. So table down went all the way down, pane down only goes the pane down and then starts over again. Yeah, and within the pane, we can do pane across and then down as well. So we sum up here to the right and then down till we get the total of the segment. This is consumer, corporate, and home office. Or we can go pane down and then across. Yeah, so this way, in this case, we again go down first and then to the right. Yeah, this is table down, and so this is compute using table and pane. And you might have realized that pane across is missing. It's missing because pane across would do the same like table across, and that's why we don't have this option. When you use table calculations like this, you have to be aware that compute using is always depending on how you use your pills in the view. Yeah, like for example, let's see, here we have the 363,000 for West in December. When I change the pills like this, and we go again to West and December, I can't find that value anymore. Yeah, because it's still going, let's go here, it's still going table across, but now we get other results. Yeah, so that's, you always have to be careful when you use table or pane down, because this way it's always relative to how you use the pills in the view. If you don't want that that flexibility in a way, you can lock the table calculations. And one way of locking the table calculations is to use the dimensions mentioned in compute using. In this case, I locked it to order date. And what does this do? This is similar to table, or this is the same like table across. So we're summing up the sales from the left to the right. For each segment in each region, we are summing up the sales across or by the month. Yeah, this would be order date. And now again, we have the West here, 363,000. Let's do the changing again. And I think we should see that value again here. Yeah, so we kept that logic also after rearranging the pills, because our table calculation is now set to be to a specific dimension, which is the month of order date. Yeah. Yeah, we can do the same with region. So in this case, region is similar to pane down. So we sum up for each segment and each month the sales, or we compute the running total by region. So take the South, add Central, add East, and add West, and start over again in February, start over again in corporate. Yeah, and the third dimension would be store. So for store, we are summing up. So we compute for each region, and it's not store, sorry, it's segment. For each region and each month, we add up the sales by segment. So we take this one, add the sales from South in January, add the sales from South in home office, and this is the result of our running calculation. Yeah, so this way you can use compute using to set up your calculations and get the values that you need for to answer your analytical questions. And you see what I tried to do. I tried to build a sentence to understand what the table calculation is doing. And I borrowed this from Andy Kriebel, and I think this is really a great way of thinking about table calculations and also thinking about the table calculation editor. So when we look again, let's say here at order date, and let's bring it back to the way we had it before. Let's try to build this sentence like Andy does. So here, so the sentence goes like this. We look into the table calculation editor, and you start at the bottom, and you say for each unchecked dimension, so in this case for each category and subcategory, then you go to the top, compute the percentage of total or running total or difference or whatever by, and then you go down again by the checked dimension here, so by year of order date. Yeah, that means for this example, or I think I have it here as well, for each, let's show the table calculation editor. So we have the unchecked dimension, region and segment. For each region and segment, we go up, compute the running sum by month of order date. Yeah, so that is a table calculation in a plain English sentence, and it helped me a lot to really understand what's going on. Last thing before I create some examples is to talk about default table calculation, and that's maybe the most pro way of setting up a table calculation. I mentioned by default we use table across. What we can also do is to define this as a field. So this is my running sum. And let's say I want to compute by default across my regions. So let's change this. And you see here in the formula editor, we have the default table calculation. And I can set that to region. Yeah, like this. And whenever I use this field in the view, it's going now from top to bottom. Yeah, so this is like pane down instead of table across. I had to set nothing here. It's set to region because I defined it to be like that. Okay, good. Looking at the time, maybe one example. So this is kind of theoretic, what I did so far. Let's see how we can use table calculations in a chart. And one of the charts I use all the time is a Pareto chart. So I want to understand who are my most important customers, who bring the most of the sales, and who are customers that are maybe not so important. So let's do it. I look into all my customers. I have 800 customers. And I want to create this Pareto chart for each customer. Let's bring this to, we can make it to entire view. And in a Pareto chart, I want to show the percentage of total customers on the x-axis and the percentage of total sales on the y-axis. And this can all be done with table calculations. So this will be my percentage of total customers. Let's increase the size here. And I will use index as a table calculation. And I will divide this by the window maximum of index. So index is counting from 1 to the respective number of customers in each bucket. And I'm dividing index by the maximum value of index. And I want to do this compute using customer name. Yeah. Okay, good. This is my percent of total customers. I will put that on columns. So we get already something. And on the y-axis, I need my percentage. Oh, wait a second. Percentage of total sales. And therefore, I need the running sum of sales and divided by the total of sum of sales. Again, record level, aggregation, table calculation. And I will do this also for my customer or compute using customer name. Okay, now let's put this to rows. And we get already something. We can switch the mark type to line. And this is not the expected outcome yet because I forgot to sort my customers. And I want to sort them by sales in descending order. Yeah, and this is the Pareto curve you might know. Let's say we look at maybe 80% as one of the values to define our A customers. And now we could say something like, okay, in consumer, we have around 49% of customers being responsible for 80% of our sales. Yeah, and I think if we look into, let's say, South, we can see how the concentration is across different segments. So here, for example, we only have 26% of the customers being responsible for 80% of the sales, and here we have 32%. Yeah, if I do some formatting, we can do something like that. Let me also put South here on filter, yeah, to see the different numbers, and you see concentration here is higher than it is here in consumer or corporate. Yeah, that is a Pareto chart. I think I'm running out of time. Second example, get previous or last year values on a continuous axis. You can do that with last. Or third example, having min and max values and being able to format them, in this case with color, for example, or with different shapes. I'm using let's look here into it. I'm using window max and window min to get the values for this point, for example. Yeah, the workbook will be available on Tableau Public, and I think, Jim, I will stop here. Are there any questions in the chat?
I think they've been staying pretty much on top of the questions as they've come through. So I don't think we've got any remaining questions. I will update you on something. I got a note from Laura. Laura is not feeling so well. She's been ill for the last few days, so we're not going to have a Kahoot quiz today. Sorry, guys. So we will have a little extra time at the end of the session. But
Okay, good. Yeah, then maybe some closing remarks on table calculations. I think we'll share the slide deck, and we have put together some resources. My go-to and Jim go-to resources around table calculations. Yeah, feel free to look into that. Then it's my pleasure to introduce Siebe Grietma, who is with us today from the Netherlands. We actually live quite close together. I think in US dimensions, we do live together. It's like 30 minutes away from each other. Siebe is the Chief Product Officer of Infotopics Apps for Tableau, and Infotopics Apps for Tableau is a Tableau Premium partner focusing on dashboard and viz extensions. And if you followed TC some weeks ago, that was a big topic at Tableau conference. So viz extensions will be generally available quite soon. I think 2024.2 is just about to be released. So then you will be able to play with all the things that Siebe is going to showcase today. Siebe is, by the way, a great cook. So I had the pleasure to attend one of his famous barbecues. So if you want any Netherlands Dutch cooking recipes, I'm sure he will be available for that as well. Siebe, what's the score in the game?
It's not so good. It's not so good. We're 1-0 behind, so I better not watch the game.
Okay, good. Then I'm happy to have you with us here, and I think you can take over now and share your screen.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. You can see my screen right now.
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes, I can.
Perfect. Thank you for the nice introduction, Klaus. I'm new to this tug as a speaker, as a presenter. It is the Newbies user group, so I like to introduce myself as one of the experts in the area of extensions. Extensions exist already in Tableau since 2018, and those are referred to now as dashboard extensions. And in Tableau 2024.2, which is released last week on Tableau Cloud platform, the new viz extensions infrastructure is active. And I want to show you some examples of what you can do with viz extensions. A lot of it is maybe a bit advanced or is looking very difficult to create. But trust me, once you're into extensions, and I will show you examples that it's easy to create. What am I going to talk about in this 30 minutes? I want to give you a small introduction to viz extensions. So what are viz extensions and how can you use them in your organization? How you can use your first viz extensions, maybe show you an extension that can capture and store user input and do some nice things with that user input. Transform your KPI visualizations with an extension. And if we have some time left, we can do a Q&A. And during the presentation, it's wise to store your questions in the Q&A or in the chat. So that will be not interruptive for the entire audience. The first question, what are extensions? Yeah, basically, I refer to extensions as plugins. They are plugins in Tableau. We all know Tableau is a great piece of software. It can do an awful lot, but it cannot do everything. So sometimes you have a use case where regular Tableau tools cannot help you out and solve to crack the nut. So therefore, you might have a look into extensions as being the plugins of Tableau. You can gain efficiency by using extensions. So for instance, if you want to make a Sankey diagram in Tableau, it can take you a day. If you're an experienced Tableau designer, with an extension, you could do it in under a minute. So that's a bit more efficient. You're less dependent of external application and maybe manual workflows. People start using Excel for certain things. So you can integrate more and more of your workflow in your Tableau dashboards. Besides that, you're extending your Tableau toolkit with different visualizations and nice goodies to have in your dashboard. And I also hope to amaze you a little bit to unlock the impossible with a couple of our extensions. I already referred to the difference between dashboard extensions and viz extensions. So dashboard extensions, as the name says, they reside and they are created and configured on the dashboard, where the new viz extensions in 2024.2 version of Tableau, they are more closely to the Tableau infrastructure, and they reside on the sheets, just like you're used to when you create a new visualization. You start with a sheet and not with a dashboard. So that's in short the difference. First, I want to show you some examples that can be created with viz extensions. I'm not using PowerPoint. This is Tableau. So to prove, I can just escape. And you can see it is just Tableau. I always like to have my sheets in Tableau, and then I can just use my arrows. This, for instance, is the World of Mordor. It's a visualization of Lord of the Rings. This type of visualization is called a network diagram. And as you can already see, it has a highly graphical format. We're using images and positioning them, but you can move your image around. You can zoom in, zoom out, and you can even, put your characters of the Lord of the Ring movies, the Lord of the Rings series, in different spots. And you can visualize, or at least analyze, the relations, for instance, between Gandalf. I just start typing here in the search box, and you can now see all the relationships in the movies and in the series between Gandalf and the other characters that play a role in Lord of the Rings. This is an extension called Show Me More, and the visualization type is called network diagram. And you can do nice things with those things. And this is one single extension with one single data sheet, and of course a couple of URLs to images. Another one that I want to show you is basically one of our first extensions that was released in 2018, and it's called the Show Me More extension. We all know, especially as a newbie in the Tableau community, in Tableau you have the button called Show Me, and it helps you out in selecting a visualization type that you can use for your set of data that you're currently working on in your sheet. Well, we thought, okay, not everything is in there, so why not create an extension and call it Show Me More. We thought it was fun, and this actually is a radar chart, and it's created with the Show Me More extension. The Show Me More extension was designed and was introduced to add extra visualization types to your Tableau toolkit, like the Sankey diagram and this radar chart, for instance. And here on the left is something, and it's called Picture This, and it can visualize images. And as you can see, when I hover the images, they show the logo of the team. It's good in the European Championship time of the football championships to have something about football. So here you can see the clubs of these players, and I can select one, and it will immediately show me the capabilities and the KPIs of this specific player, Cristiano Ronaldo. But I can also add Harry Kane, and you can see the difference, and the average is automatically calculated by the extension. So this is basically a Tableau dashboard only showing two extensions, showing the pictures in a nice grid. It's scrollable as well, and the other one showing the radar charts with the characteristics of those specific players. Another one I wanted to show, you can also do some retro design in Tableau. This is a retro design scatter plot. If you watch closely, you can see the data set of Show Me More. So you can see the categories here on the top right. And when I start filtering, the things change. Hey, what happened there? Oh, there's a game in here. Oh, hey, that's nice. This is my Tableau workbook, and I can just play a game in Tableau, playing Snake all around my Tableau dashboard. And I'm not good at it, but yeah, as you can see, you can eat the marks in your scatter plot. So this is also done with an extension, and yeah, you may ask, okay, why create a game in Tableau? Of course, it's not a lot of business value playing Snake. I don't know if a lot of organizations would like to have their Tableau people play Snake on the work floor, but it's merely to show that with extensions, there's virtually no limit to what you can do inside your dashboard. So this was a game designed by one of my colleagues, and it will be there will be a blog, and you can download the workbooks on Tableau Public somewhere in the upcoming month. If you want to know more about extensions, dashboard extensions as well as Viz extensions, they are both available in the Tableau Exchange. So those are the free versions, so you can play around, and there's some descriptions in there. I put some links in here, so if you can watch the recording, it's just the exchange.tableau and then Viz extensions or dashboard extensions. And in our site, you can download a free trial as well. It's on apps4tableau.infotopics.com. Request a free trial, and you can use all the functionality. With extensions, when people talk about extensions, almost always the topic of security pops up. Of course, when you work with data, and especially when I show a game, then yeah, security is always a topic in the conversations. So what about that security? Can you use extensions in your infrastructure or on the internet in a safe way in your infrastructure? My answer is yes. You can operate extensions in a governed and secure way. Most of the extensions, especially the ones you download from the Tableau Exchange, or if you use them from the Tableau Exchange, they are SaaS versions of the extension. So somewhere on the internet, a server part of the extension is hosted on a website. That might seem like a security issue, but in fact, most extensions use client-side rendering. So there's no data ever leaving your dashboard. The only thing that the extension server does is feed some extra information to the dashboard, so it can be rendered inside your dashboard. So no data will ever leave your dashboard. Besides that, most extensions that are out there in the community can also be deployed in a 100% on-premises way in your own infrastructure. So it can be a private cloud, can be an on-premise installation. Our extensions, for example, can operate in an environment that has no internet connection at all. They're easy to deploy, they're easy to maintain, they're scalable. There are several tools like the Extensions Manager, there are installation wizards available, and it's not that new. It's already out there since 2018, and a lot of companies, big companies all over the world, are using extensions in their primary reporting platforms and in their business dashboards, their management dashboards. So there's a lot of happy customers already out there across the globe. Okay. Another example of a dashboard extension is the super tables. Often when you work in Tableau, you get asked the question when you create a dashboard, can I export my data to Excel? Because people want to do something in Excel that cannot be done inside the dashboard. When using this extension, this is the extension, by the way, this is all based on Superstore data set. You can already see that you can have conditional formatting in your column. So you can scroll down, you can scroll up, but there's also a lot of extra columns that can be hidden behind the expand and collapse symbols over here. So if I want to know more detail, instead of only the profit ratio and the sales, I can open this container and show extra information about sales profit. And the good thing is everybody can do this. So even if you're a user of a published dashboard, you can still move around your columns or even maybe remove them. There's search in here. So if I look for John, it's automatically searching my entire data set for customers named John. It is interactive, so I can select marks here, and it will immediately affect the rest of my sheet. Sorry, the rest of my dashboard. And the interaction is also the other way around. So when I select something in my dashboard, it also uses a dashboard action to filter on my super table information. This is one of the most popular extensions used globally, I think, and it really helps you get people into your Tableau dashboards and do Excel-like things instead of using Excel. And the great advantage is, of course, when you do it in Tableau, your governance and security of Tableau is applied automatically to your super tables as well. So your data is not out in the open, it stays in your dashboard, and only people with access to your dashboard can also use the extension. Having said that, this is one of the latest extensions that is available, and it was presented at the Tableau conference. And Klaus helped on this one. It was one of his ideas to create something like a Power KPI where you can drill down on KPIs. As you can see, we have a KPI named operational profit. I can relate it to my actuals. I can relate my actuals to the budget. Can see my increase or decrease, and I can compare it to my last year's values. You can see the most recent values, so a trend. You can use filtering, you can use extra jumps to extra dashboards, and you can see what the relationship between this KPI is with these KPIs. So these three KPIs together build the first KPI. So there can be relationships visualized, and it's just as simple as clicking a plus sign, and you can drill down anyway through all the KPIs that you have in your organization. And once you think, oh, I want to know more about the conversion, you can click on a button and it will open your conversion rate dashboard, and you can deep dive into the analysis of why your conversion rates dropped or increased. Of course, here you can also filter. You can see the values change over here. It is basically a starting point for your organization. Almost all the organizations in the world use KPIs, and this is a way to offer a lot of KPIs and people browse them and see them. And when they think that's interesting, that's an outlier, I want to know more about that, go ahead and let them point to the dashboard that they really need for their analysis. Another use case with extensions is adding comments to marks in your dashboard. For instance, if I have my tables here, it's pretty pink, so my profit is negative. And when I select this specific mark, my dashboard is filtered, of course, and I can see there's no comments yet made on tables. I will click the plus sign, and I will be presented a form. And in the form, I will add my content. So this is my user input. This is tables, commenting. Can have some drop downs, so you can design the forms in any way you want. Set the priorities, and this is looking awful. I can select the state, and the states here in the list are dynamically populated from the sheet over here. So there's lots of interactions. So Montana, for instance, is not in the list, but yeah, I will check Florida in this case, and I will press save. My data is stored, and the dashboard reloads automatically. And here you can see I now have a comment in my dashboard. And I can reuse the information that I entered in the form. So the user input can already be used in the tooltips of the marks where I attached the comments to. Those are all examples from things that cannot be done in Tableau. Tableau is read-only. You cannot write back, so you cannot catch the user input, only in a parameter, but not on a scale like this. And you can reuse that information. So these are more or less advanced cases, but you can easily start by exploring them or building them with the products that are available in the Tableau Exchange. And that's my next question, or at least my next topic. Is it hard to learn Viz extensions? Well, in my opinion, if you master drag and drop, which is not too difficult, I hope, you are ready to use Viz extensions. And I'm going to show you. I already showed you super tables. I now have to leave presentation mode because I'm going to create the extension or the sheet from scratch. As I already told, you use Viz extensions on a sheet level, dashboard extensions on a dashboard level, Viz extensions on a sheet level. So what's new in the latest version of Tableau 2024.2, which is already released on Tableau Cloud? In the marks pane, in your dropdown, which usually says automatic, you now have a new button at the bottom. So here is a button called Add Extension. When I click Add Extension, Tableau populates the Tableau Exchange with the Viz extensions category. So Tableau recognizes, hey, this is a sheet level. The guy wants to use an extension. It must be a Viz extension because it's on a sheet level. And here are all the extensions that are already available for free in the Tableau Exchange. So I want to show you the Super Tables one. So the one that that is about to replace Excel, or at least minimize the demand for Excel. I just click it. You get some explanation on this specific extension, who created it, where it's hosted, short description, some images, documentation, a lot of information, related stuff. You just have to click open, and then basically the extension is loaded into my sheet. And when you use extensions, especially when you're in authoring mode, so when you're creating a new sheet or a new dashboard, Tableau always asks you to allow the extension, because extensions can access your data, and you need to be aware that when using extensions, you need to allow them. And this one is it's infotopics.com. That's one of our domain names, so I trust it and I press OK. And as you already might have noticed, it will load a starting page. So no data is being transferred to the extension server or to Tableau or to whatever. It all remains in this sheet. It's just like a normal sheet, only it has some extra graphical elements. In the landing page here, you see some instructions, what you can do. And here in the marks pane, you now see there's a tile called measures, a tile called dimensions, detail, tooltip. So I'm connected to a sample Superstore data set, and let's add some dimensions. For instance, the region. Add the region to the dimension. And it already starts populating. It automatically creates an index. Let's add the state province as well. And maybe some product specifications, like the product category and maybe the product subcategory. And let's select a measure to make it complete. Let's use sales. Drag it to the measures, and as you can see, all my columns are in there. It's already interactive, so I can drag my sales to the right. I don't bother at the moment for formatting my numbers, but you get the drill. If you want to get rid of the index column, you can do two things. You can either draw it outside of your container, or you can go to the right to the columns pane and enable or disable one of your columns if you do or do not want to see it. So already from here, I can start aggregating my data. So if I want my data to be aggregated on region, I just drag it here to the grouping bar. And if I want my second one level to be category, I can now drill down on region and category. And if it doesn't fit my schedule, I can just click here and say auto size all my columns, or even auto size them to the window. So it shows my grouped on region or aggregated on region and category, but still looking at the lowest level of the sheet of the data. Now I want to show you how to integrate it in a dashboard. Therefore, I have prepared a dashboard with one empty container, and this is the container where I want to put the sheet with the Viz extension. So let's have a look here. So this is the sheet we just created. I think the Netherlands scored. There's some people cheering at the streets. So the Viz extension super stable sheet, I will drag it in here, and it will render the sheet we just created in here in my container. And the only thing I have to do now is use it as a filter, and I can check my Mark West, and the rest of my sheet is already filtered on the Mark West. So is it science? I don't think so. When you just follow the instructions, drag and drop, and use your common sense, I think anyone can use Viz extensions. And if you want to change something, you can just go back to the sheet level, and make some changes in your sheet. So if you don't want to group your data, that's also fine. You just remove the grouping, and you're looking at all the rows in your data. And you can, of course, even add new dimensions, like if I want the city in there, just add the city, and maybe change that. Where's my city? Probably on the right. Yeah, there it is. You can drag it to state, province, and put it here. So you're really flexible in using the extension. This is a tabular extension. Viz extensions was originally designed to add extra Viz types to your Tableau toolkit, and adding extra Viz types can also be done using this Viz extensions. And I will show you how to create a Sankey diagram with the Viz extension in, say under a minute. So you can start the timer. Same routine again. I open the drop down here. I add the extension, and instead of scrolling down, I will search for Sankey. There's multiple Sankeys in there. This is the one by Tableau. It's already in there for a year. It was used on Tableau Public as a pilot. And this is the Sankey diagram I want to show you, of course, because it's by Apps for Tableau. Click Open, and again, allow the extension. And now you can see there's some different tiles in here. So it says dimensions, but it has the levels symbol and the measures. So let's just add some dimensions. Region. It doesn't start rendering because for a Sankey diagram, you need at least one measure and two dimensions. So I will add some dimensions first. So I will add region, category, maybe something like ship mode. Let's search for that. Oh, there's no ship mode in here. That's wrong. That's strange. Maybe customer segment. Where's my... Okay. I don't want one with very large volumes, but let's use subcategory then. And last but not least, we want a measure. Let's add sales to the measures. And once I drop the measure sales over here, it will start rendering my my Sankey diagram. And as you can see, and I hover, it's already interactive, and you can build a Sankey diagram in a couple of seconds by just dragging and dropping the dimensions and the measures that you want to use in your Sankey diagram. Of course, here we can also add the Sankey diagram. Click on the filter icon, use this filter. Oh, it's a bit short. And here you have the interactivity available that you were looking for. Let's, oh, I used the wrong container. So here, these are two examples of how easy it is to get started with the use of Viz extensions and create things that are hard to do in Tableau, or maybe even not possible to do in Tableau. So what have we learned? I think with extensions you can do things that are virtually impossible. You can operate them securely, either in an on-premise configuration or in a SaaS configuration. You can improve your efficiency and enhance your dashboard with only a few clicks, and it's pretty easy to use. So if you master drag and drop, you can get some of those goodies into your own dashboards. If you have any questions, of course, you're good to ask. Ask them in the Q&A. Don't know if we have some time to answer them. Maybe the moderators can inform me on that one.
Yeah, and there were a couple of questions out there. Right now, this is available on cloud. Is there an expectation about it being moved also to Tableau Public? And what's the story on desktop?
Yeah, good question. I don't know for sure, but my expectation is that Tableau will release version 2024.2 for desktop in about a week. That's my expectation. So it will be available in Tableau Desktop really, really soon. And then it will also be released for Tableau Server and Tableau Public. I don't know if it will. I think Tableau Public already has some extensions in there, like the Sankey of Tableau. And I don't know what extensions they want to allow on Tableau Public, because on Tableau Public and the use of extensions has always been a combination of, it's maybe eating too much resources. You can do nice things, of course, with extensions. And if everybody starts using them and creating sheets with 10,000 of rows in that can also cause extra load on platforms like Tableau Public.
I think in the extension gallery, you can select or you can search for extensions that run on Tableau Public already. Mm-hmm. So if you want to play with it on Tableau Public, you can narrow them down to the ones that are possible.
Yeah, okay. That's for the dashboard extensions. That's correct.
Yeah. This was absolutely super. Just really, really an outstanding presentation. And
thank you.
Everything blew up and went wild. Now there's a question, and I don't want to put you on a spot, but people want to know if your presentation is going to be available. Are you going to take this workbook and are we going to post that on either your Tableau Public profile or on the Tableau Newbie user group site? And it's okay to say, no, not at this time.
No, not at this time. And the main reason is that these extensions are not all available on Tableau Public, or not yet available on Tableau Public. We do have examples of them on our website. So when you get started, when you go to appsfortableau.com or appsfortableau.infotopics.com, when you request a free trial, you can download all our extensions and use them, and you can also download the demo workbook of them. So you can already see it in action, and those are mainly the same examples that I show here. So if you want to get a hold of it, you can download, you can register for a free trial. It's an automated process, so everybody will be granted the free trial, but you have your own personal download page, and it's at least valid for 14 days. If you want more days, then just send in an email and it will be extended for a couple of weeks extra.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for letting me put you on the spot. Go ahead.
And maybe most important information, Siba Gakpo scored the equalizer.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Now that's really important information. It is safe to say that Viz extension. We're just sitting on the leading edge of Viz extensions. There are developers all over working on Viz extensions, and opening up the extension category to Viz extensions has just opened up tremendous possibilities. So stay tuned for further development.
Yeah.
Safe to say?
There's one thing I want to say. Maybe I did not focus enough. Of course, the difference between dashboard extensions and Viz extensions. Viz extensions are new. Dashboard extensions are already out there since 2018, so a couple of years already. But for the end user, it is not noticeable. It's not a noticeable difference between a Viz extension or a dashboard extension. The main benefits are for the dashboard creators, so the people that actually create dashboards in Tableau, and it's closer to the native Tableau way of working by using the marks pane, by using the actions and stuff like that. So that's the main difference. For the end user, it really doesn't matter if they use a dashboard extension or a Viz extension, but for the creators and explorers, it has a lot of extra value in efficiency and usability.
And one question, because I'm not knowing exactly, so for Tableau server users, Viz extensions will they be available or not? Or do you have to have 2024.2 as the server version as well?
Correct. Viz extensions are available in Tableau version 2024.2, and as far as I know, it will also be available on the Tableau server platform. On the Tableau server platform, dashboard extensions are already available since 2018. So if you cannot find Viz extensions of your need, then inquiry about dashboard extensions, because for the end user, they can do the same, and we can always work something out and help you with setting things up.
Yeah, there was just one question coming in regarding Super Tables. This extension was marked free. Is there a paid version and free version of it, and what's the difference?
Yeah, correct. The free version of the Viz extension allows you to do everything, and there's no limitation as long as you're in Tableau Desktop or in edit mode on Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server. So as long as you're in authoring mode, you can use all of the extension, but it will not work for dashboard viewers. They will see a message, this is the free version. If you want this unlocked, then you should go for a subscription.
There was another question that came through about the write back extension for the comments. Where are the comments stored? And then is there an easy way to remove and update the comments as the actual dashboard is updated?
Yeah, a good question. The comments are stored in a separate table in a database of your choice. So you can configure that in the management console of the extension. And you can use that table as an extra data source in your Tableau dashboard and join, blend, or use relationships to get that information back into your visualizations, either with or without an extension. The data is yours, of course, and it's stored, and it's accessible. So you can do whatever you want with the data gathered from the extension. When a mark doesn't exist in your dashboard anymore, the comment will not be automatically deleted. So it will still be in your database, in your table, but it will not show because there's no relationship anymore.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much. This was outstanding. Really appreciate it. Now you can get back to your football game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siebe, and good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Yep, you too. You're also still in, Klaus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
We're not going to have a quiz today, but let's finish up with the last couple slides. Okay, very good. Nominations are still open for ambassadors. You can nominate somebody that has helped you out or somebody that you think deserves the honor of being an ambassador. I'm an ambassador myself. I'm one of the forum ambassadors. Viraj is an ambassador. Also, he's one of the user group ambassadors, and there's a number of different categories. You want to learn more about the ambassador program, go to the QR code that you see there. You can also nominate yourself. You can apply for the role and say, hey, I think I'm worthy. I can go out there and do it. And we encourage you to do that. Please, if that's something that you aspire to, nominate yourself. Go out there, and it's a relatively simple process. There are 2 codes there. One is for a description of what the ambassador program is all about, the different categories, and then who would fit into each one of those categories. And the second is to nominate or apply yourself. I want to make mention of one category, and there's a scholastic category, an academic category. And if you have students, or you know of students, or you are a student, and you want to nominate yourself, or you want to nominate a student, please do. And they are very active. These guys are active on campus. They not just promote Tableau on their own campus, but they get together and they promote competitions between campuses. It's a great way for students to get involved with Tableau. So if you know somebody who's qualified, please nominate them. Klaus, I think we can go to the final slide now, unless somebody has what they want to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
so next time we come together in August, and we will have my good friend Tor Levinson with us, talking about maps, and also we will have Reyes and Maddie to talk about maps. So I think this session will be all around maps. So yeah, I think it's about time to talk about maps, isn't it?
Yeah, maps are always a #1 topic. It's a big hitter here, and we're glad to have Reyes and Maddie do that part of the presentation. Thank you for attending today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Let's see. People are going to disappear.
I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
Yes, please.